Okay, we're rolling.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave with you. I hope you're doing well. I have a little thing I want you to try if you have older episodes. You know, episodes that have been out for a while, and you look at your stats and it's kind of flat. Like, nobody's listening to these anymore. Nobody is pressing play on old episodes, and you're like, I wish I could. That was such a great interview, such a great episode. I wish people were still listening to this. And instead of like re-releasing the episode as a new episode, I'm doing something with my podcast. I've been playing with this for a while. And I got to tell you, it's working. And I got to tell you something else. No other gurus are talking about this. So it's just you and me. So we don't have to tell anybody else, but there's a little thing you can do in your podcast. It's completely free. It's not going to break anything. And it could really bring life to old episodes that really are kind of flatlined. Like there's nothing going on. So I want you to try this hack and I want you to pick an episode that you want to bring back to life from your catalog, from the past. And I want you to try this trick with me. Okay? You ready? All right, here we go. So my Living the Next Chapter podcast, it's an author podcast I've had for almost 4 years now. I have about 720 episodes for that show. And like there's like episode 10 or episode 32 or episode 15 or episode 4. And the guest was amazing. But that's like 700 episodes ago. And a new person coming to my show most likely is not going to go back to the beginning. And the people who have already heard this episode, they've already heard it. But I want to bring this old episode back to life. What can I do? Bring the guest back and have another interview? Maybe. But what can I do to the old content to bring it back and resurface it for my new audience, the people who have just found my show this week, to reintroduce them to some old episodes, some of the classics, some of the hits, right? When we go to see a concert, we go see their favorite band, we don't want to just hear all the new songs. We want to hear them play the hits, the songs that made them famous, the songs that we love. You can sprinkle in the new stuff, but definitely play the hits. And I think in our catalog of episodes, we have some hits. We have some really great content, amazing guests, great topics, maybe something newsworthy. Maybe one of your guests from a long time ago is now in the news. They're in a movie, or they were on the news for some event, or they released a new album. I don't know, whatever it is. They're now back into the zeitgeist. There's a word, zeitgeist of what's going on in the world. And you had them on a long time ago. But now they're like uber famous or something. You're like, nobody's listening to this old episode with so-and-so. What if you brought them back? What if you brought the episode back from the grave, back from the dead? So what I've been playing with is I've been going into old episodes that I want to bring back to the forefront. And I go into the date that the episode was released. You can go in, you can edit in your podcast host, and you can actually change the date. Now, before you change anything, the first thing I would do is copy the original date when the episode originally went live. So March 3rd, 2022, grab that date and go into your podcast episode that you want to bring back up and make it more relevant. And click on edit, go into edit the description. Just at the bottom, you know where you have your show notes? At the bottom, just put like original published date and put the date that you originally released the episode. Because you don't want to forget that date. And most likely you haven't written it down. So put it in the show notes. And it just lives at the bottom. Nobody really needs to know why you put that there, but that's just for your reference, really. Skip this step and you're going to be very upset with yourself. So do this. Put the original date that you see in your hosting site for that episode. 3 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 months ago, whatever. put that date in your show notes at the bottom, just somewhere below, just so you have a record of it. And now you're free to play with the date that you want to change your podcast to. So here's what I do. And here's one thing I would suggest you not do when you play with your dates. Do not make any changes to the date and future date this episode from the past to a future date in your podcast host. Meaning, don't make it for tomorrow or next week, because that would flag it as a new release for your audience. And when they see you have 700 episodes and all of a sudden episode 10 shows up as a new release, people are going to be very, very confused as to why episode 10 is up against episode 720. Like, what? Why is this here? That's a mistake. So don't make it for a future date. Make it for a date in the past, like yesterday or the day before, but nothing in the future. Because again, any future dated episode changes to the date of that original podcast episode would flag it as a new release, and you don't want to do that. It's not a new release. You're just bringing it up in the mix. So if you want to see what this looks like, go to Living the Next Chapter on your listening app of choice. Apple, Spotify, whatever. And just sort on the dates for the episodes. And you will see episodes in the 700s. And then you'll see some in the double digits, some like in the hundreds, the 70s, the 10s. And what I'm doing is I'm bringing up an episode from the past and just putting it up next to the current episodes. So it lives next to what's happening in real time. So a new person coming to my show will see what I released today or yesterday as a new release, yes. But right next to it is another older episode that I'm bringing back to my audience's attention, especially the new people. Again, you got to remember, there are new people coming to your show every single day, and they may or may not go back in your catalog. So bring your catalog to them and just change the date. Again, I don't hear this on any other podcast about podcasting. Nobody talks about this. So I think I tripped on something unique here, and I have to tell you, it really, really works. I love playing with this. And what I do is I bring an old episode up for about a month or a few weeks, and I just let it sit there. It gets new life, new listens, new engagement. And then after it starts to calm down again, I just push it back to the original date. Remember what I said? Go in your show notes because you put the date right when you originally released it. And then just go back to the edit date field and put it back to the date showing in your show notes. And it goes right back in the order, back to where it came from. And then I go grab another episode and I push it back up. It really, really works. People not only listen to the most recent episode, but then they see this out-of-place numbered episode from the past. And they're like, what's this? And the curiosity gets them every time. So if you want to bring new life to old episodes, go in, first document the original date when that episode went live way back in the past. Put that in the show notes of that episode so you don't forget. And then go have fun. Play with the date. And always remember to put it in the past, not the future. Future dates will flag as new item, new release, and you don't want that to happen. You want to just play with the date and move it back a day. So it's always one day behind, but recent. And that's going to show you and to your audience, here's some old content you might not have heard. And if your audience has already heard it, they've already heard it. So it's not going to affect them at all. When people listen to your show, when they listen to the end of every episode, it marks it as complete. And when you're listening on your app, you can sort by unlistened to or unwatched, whatever it's called, or not finished. There's a bunch of different titles they'll have. So if they've already listened to episode 10 from 2 years ago, and you move episode 10 up to, say, yesterday's date, they've already listened to it, so it's still not going to show as a new listen, a new episode. And they've already marked it as played, so it doesn't affect them at all. This is for the new people who have just met you for the first time, and they're playing your most recent episode. And all of a sudden, here's an older episode that I'd love for you to check out as well. So just because you released it 5 years ago doesn't mean it's still not relevant. So if your podcast is evergreen, meaning the content lives into the future, it's not topical, it's not date-wise, it's not like the weather for today type podcast, but it's something that has meaning in the future, then go play with the dates. And if you're like, Dave, I have no idea what you're talking about. This sounds great, but I'm listening to this and I can't picture how to do this. Then you know how to reach me. howtopodcast.ca. Calendar link's right there. You and I will do a screen share over Zoom. I'll show you on your screen how to do this and show you what not to do and what you should do when playing with the dates for your older episodes. So I challenge you, 2026, go play with your older content. Bring it back to life and introduce it to your new audience who may not know anything about your past, and celebrate. And I would also, as a bonus tip, if you're going to bring back, say it's a guest, let your guest know that you're recycling and bringing back their episode from the past, and just say, hey, heads up, I know you were on my show 3 years ago, and we talked about blah, blah, blah. Here's the link. Again, thanks for being on the show. I'm just going to be bringing this back up in my feed for my audience, just so you know. So you might see a bump on your end, just so you're aware. That's where it's coming from. Let your guests know. Like, what a great touch point for you to reach out to your guest as well and give them the heads up. So play with the dates for older episodes. Bring them back from the past. Bring them to the current, to today. But bring them to yesterday so that it doesn't flag as a new release. Again, if you need any help, let me know. Fun with dates. Time to bring back that old content and let your audience know what you've done in the past. Go play and let me know how it works for you. And if you saw a bump on your end, I'd love to hear at howtopodcast.ca. So I get asked quite often, usually at the end of a podcast, like right now, Dave, how can we help you? Like, how can we, as a listener, like, support the show? Can we come rake your leaves? Can we cut the grass? Shovel the snow? Watch your dog? Help you move? What can we do? Clean your dishes? Oh, that'd be interesting. Well, if you can't do that because, you're in Poland, maybe you can help us by supporting us with our Buy Me a Coffee. It's right there on our website. And, it just will help us to, A, stay fueled because, we drink a lot of coffee around here. And it helps the show. So if you want to help us, it's out of the goodness of your heart. I can tell you that listening to the podcast to this point, you've already helped us so much. But I do have people saying, Dave, I'd love to give back something small, even just to the show. Buy Me a Coffee link is on our website at howtopodcast.ca. And you can support the show that way. It would mean a lot to have you on our team supporting what we do here. If you find value in the show, then that's great. Share the show. Tell somebody about it. And when somebody says, Dave, I want to start a podcast, who should I check out? Oh, you should go check out the How to Podcast series because of all the great co-hosts and all the things that happen here, the meetups, everything. And I would appreciate that. And then fill our cup once in a while if you can. But again, thank you so much for being here and supporting the How to Podcast series. Take care. Talk soon. You're still here? Okay. Now, I've had questions to me about what podcast host am I using for my 9 different shows. So I use 3 different podcast hosts right at this moment. probably will change in the future and play with other ones. I like to have different ones to play with so I can help podcasters like you to make the right choice for you. And also I understand how the platform works so I can answer your questions as well. The best person to reach out to is the platform themselves, but I'm happy to help as well. So I'm using Spotify for Creators for this show. It originally was called Anchor, and then Spotify for Podcasters, and now it's Spotify for Creators. They keep changing the name. They get bored. It's free, doesn't cost anything, and I've been with them for this show from day one. Never had a problem. Great customer service. And again, it's free. Doesn't cost anything. There's no limits to how many episodes I can release a month, like some other places. And they have video as well. So if you ever have any questions about Spotify for Creators, happy to help. I'm also on Buzzsprout for Living the Next Chapter, my author podcast. Been on Buzzsprout from day one for that show. Again, good group over there. They do have some pretty hard limits as far as how much you can do every month, which I'm always up against. So I can't release everything that's recorded. I have to wait monthly for the next month to upload the next batch, which is kind of a pain, but good service, good people. That's Buzzsprout. And then I'm also on Captivate.fm. I have about 5 or 6 shows over there. The nice thing about them is you pay one fee per month, and you can have a bunch of different shows under one paid account. So I have, and each account I have there gives me my own feed. So I have a feed for Dad Space. I have a feed for the podcast editing and support show. I have a feed for the Daily Santa podcast. They're all there on Captivate as separate shows under one paid account per month. And it's reasonable. Great team, super people, lots of great add-ons. I don't use the add-ons, but there's a lot of great add-ons there as well. And I'd love for you to check them out. So those are the 3 that I use. I'd love to hear what you use or what you're thinking about using. And if you have questions and you're not sure, reach out anytime. Happy to help. Thanks for being here. Happy podcasting.